from my heart and from my hand. Why don't people understand my intention?
Hello and welcome to the first FM18 experiment here on the Lucky Sparks channel, where what we've done is we're here in the British Virgin Islands, who obviously recently were hit by the both Hurricane Irma and Maria, which is one of the reasons why I chose them, because I read a news article the other day about how the British Virgin Islands, they're using sports, football, rugby, cricket, things like that, to bring the community back together after such a horrible tragedy. So I decided I'll make them the focus of the experiment. And the experiment's very simple. I've given every single team, and I did just create this database. I'll put it up onto the Steam Workshop, so you can download it. I'll leave a link to it down below. For the British Virgin Islands Premier League and the First Division. So there are two tiers, but for some reason there's only 3 teams in the second tier. I don't know either. And basically every single team in both tiers has the best youth facilities possible, best training facilities, best youth recruitment. And the idea is to take the British Virgin Islands, who are ranked 203rd in the world, and I mean that goes 34, so it doesn't count. So let's have a look at Derwin Ross. Their best player is 11 ability with 16 potential. Not great, really quite terrible. If you have a look at his actual stats, I mean he's a left back, so if we look at tackling 4, crossing 1, you know, not really great. Obviously all the teams are amateur at the moment. You know, so the idea is meant to be that the British Virgin Islands will have all these amazing youth players suddenly coming through. They're not going to be world beaters, but to see how far the British Virgin Islands can go with these youth facilities. I will constantly keep topping them up so they're always as good as they can be, because they're not really going to have any money in the British Virgin Islands. So as you can see, state-of-the-art training facilities, state-of-the-art youth facilities, exceptional junior coaching, and extensive youth recruitment. That is the same across the board. There are 2 competitions, obviously the League and the Wendell Williams Cup. There is prize money and things on this. You don't really get much. I tried to keep it realistic because I didn't want the teams to be flooded with money. But yeah, other than that, that's really about it. So I will see you in a second, 2 years in the future, to see how far they've managed to go in just 2 years. Alright, so here we are, 2 years in the future, and you can already see they are up to 165th with this massive leap here from 194 to 166th in about March 2019. And you can see that they're about to play Canada in the World Cup North American qualifying section, second round, first leg. I don't think they've ever gotten that far. I could be wrong, obviously, but I feel like that's probably a record for them. If we look at their star players, because that's the main reason why we're here, see how the players are. So, Christopher James, 17-year-old goalkeeper playing for the Sugar Boys, which is a great name for a football team. He is 39.63, not amazing. If we look at his attributes, so 13 rushing out, 11 reflexes, 9 handling, 6 command of area, 4 aerial reach. So they're not amazing. He's got some decent stats in there though, much better than what you would expect from an amateur goalkeeper from the British Virgin Islands. Unfa Miller, who plays for Islanders FC. He is 63 current with 72 potential. If we have a look at his stats, so obviously he's a centre back, 8 tackling, 9 marking, 8 heading, 13 jumping reach. He's got 17 aggression. He's only got 1 determination. But yeah, decent, maybe not National League North-South level, but if you're managing in, like, let's say, I don't know, the Hong Kong League, decent signing, I would say. David Caesar, who is a defensive midfielder playing for VG Bull Stars, which is, once again, an amazing name. So he is current ability 58, potential 78. So he's got 12 tackling, 12 passing, 8 first touch, 6 dribbling, 4 determination, 14 work rate, 9 teamwork, 14 natural fitness. That's pretty decent. Once again, you know, no real amazing sort of stats here, but you know, like if you've been watching, you know, for instance, Loki Doki's recent journeyman save in India, having a double-digit stat in terrible leagues basically makes you the best player ever. And we've got Devon Thompson, also playing for Islanders FC. He's a striker, and he is 56 current with 69 potential ability. He's got 11 finishing, 12 pace, 11 acceleration, 8 composure is not great, but he's got 11 determination, 10 work rate. So yeah, he seems like he'd be pretty decent. He's sort of a very good lower league striker, almost exactly what you want. Decent finishing, but very fast, so you can just sort of long ball over the top, and he's just going to get onto it. Their captain is Troy Caesar, who I think is a normal sort of player who's already in the game by default if you have the league loaded. And he's 46 current, 70 potential. He's only 25. But once again, all the young players come through. They are better than, obviously, who were there before, how we saw how they were 11 ability with 16 potential. Obviously now it's a lot higher, which is good. If we go back to the start, so when they first started, so this season here, they don't really have any of the obviously the new gens coming through the youth system. So the bog standard British Virgin Islands team losing to Antigua and Barbuda, who are 148th, St Kitts and Nevis, who are 140th, and losing quite heavily as well, losing to the Cayman Islands, who are 166th. They beat St Martin, who aren't ranked at all, so they're not an official FIFA member. Drew 1-1 with the Bahamas, who are 199th, and they lost 2-0 to El Salvador, who are 116th. So it's normally about March time that you get the youth intake in obviously winter leagues. So they beat Guadeloupe 2-1. Guadeloupe, not an official football team. The US Virgin Islands, who are ranked 200th, they beat them 1-0. And it is their main rival nation as well. So they beat their rivals. They lost 3-0 to Martinique, who are not an official team. They then beat Sint Maarten, which is the Dutch side of St Martin, who are not an official football team. They then beat St Martin 3-1, not an official football team. The US Virgin Islands, again, this time 2-0. But then they lost 3-0 to Guadeloupe and 4-0 to Panama, who are ranked 97th. But obviously, in real life, have just qualified for the World Cup. So maybe 4-0 is a decent result. They then drew 1-1 with Belize at home in the first leg of the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying. And then they beat them 2-1 in Belize. And Belize are ranked 197th. They then beat the Turks and Caicos Islands, who are ranked 190th. And then beat Sint Maarten again 3-0. And they're coming up against Canada now, who are ranked 109th. But, I mean, you just need to look at some of the players like Atiba Hutchinson. I mean, they might be able to get maybe a draw at home, possibly. But I feel like they're going to struggle against Canada. But still, that is a massive fixture for such a small nation. 30,000 people on the British Virgin Islands coming up against Canada, which has a population of 36.5 million. So that's pretty good. If we go to the leagues, So it's been won by Islanders the last 2 years. They're by far the best team. If we go to the stages, so they won it by 3 points last season, with Walyus getting relegated. VG Bullstars were the promoted team. They came straight in at third. And in the first season, they won it by 11 clear points. And Virgin Gorda were relegated. This season, I mean, it could go either way, I suppose. But I kind of feel like you've got to put your money on Islanders again. I do feel like there might be an issue with this, because it's not set up for them to qualify into the CONCACAF Champions League, which might be something I have to look into on the database side of things. I'm not going to restart the experiment, because we're not really here to see how well the league do and the teams do. It's more to see how far the players can go pushing forward. Maybe some of them will join the MLS, maybe the Mexican League, because they're the only other 2 leagues I've got loaded. But they may join the big teams around Europe if they start producing players of top quality. But I feel like one of the issues with that is that they're not really going to move anywhere, possibly. That might be an issue. They might just stay here, meaning, no reputation. All the teams are amateur, so they're not going to get any money off selling players either. But if we go to the transfers, so we go to the first season, I don't believe any of these are the regions. No, they're all sort of older players moving around. So last season there were only 3 transfers. Jordan Delfish, who's a striker, he is 30 current with 39 potential. I mean, all these are free. He scored 3 goals in 13 games. Matthew Moss, who is 33 years old. And Christopher James, 17-year-old goalkeeper, who I think we already looked at, who is the star goalkeeper. Yeah, he's the star goalkeeper for the British Virgin Islands, and he plays for the Sugar Boys. So I think we might leave that there. As you can see, Virgin Gorda got relegated, and now they're promoted again, and they're predicted to finish 3rd. It's crazy league. So thanks for watching. I might possibly start streaming on YouTube, actually doing a British Virgin Islands save on YouTube, because the seasons are really short because of how little teams there are. So that might be something to look forward to. If you'd like to see that, please leave a like on the video, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.